Good morning, everyone. So, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to chat with everyone if people are live, just kind of a little bit about the pelvic floor and just kind of what that means and how to test if yours is weak. Just all that kind of stuff. We're putting together a pretty awesome workshop. I think we're going to reschedule it for next week if I'm understanding correctly. And I know that the workshop was called Yoga for Better Sex, but it's more about learning how to connect with those intrinsic muscles, learning how to connect with your three first energy channels, chakras, whatever you want to call them. Um, Sorry, somebody's calling me on my computer. Stop! I will call you back. so, I just wanted to just kind of chat with everyone if people are on and just kind of ways that you can, one, test the pelvic floor. Hold on. Sorry, somebody keeps calling me over and over and over and over again. Okay, because I know why she's calling. So, okay. So anyway, I apologize. So anyway, before I kind of discovered yoga, and didn't really know anything, especially a lot of doctors, they'll tell you, I had three kids and, I was over 200 pounds with all three of my kids. I know. And everybody's like, what? Yeah, I was literally well over 300 pounds with all three of my kids. Or 200 pounds, I'm sorry. But I started out at like 110. So I was not a pretty pregnant woman. I was glowing, but it was because I was swollen. That's the only glowing that was coming out of me. My husband used to say, my ex-husband used to say, I'm going to go Bridget tipping anyway. Ha, ha, ha. And so I lost all my pelvic, like muscles down there. I was literally kind of, like I said, this is more of a workshop-y stuff. So I'll keep it as clean as I can. But basically, I didn't have any feeling down there. I didn't have any control. I was peeing on myself. And this can happen to men too. I think a lot of men or even women don't realize that pelvic floor issues can happen in both men and women. And so I was just going to kind of go over like a few things of like how to check your pelvic floor for one. But long story short, I had two bladder surgeries. The first one failed. They put the mesh and they lifted my bladder back up. Anyway, and then I had another one and it failed again. And it was like, okay, there's got to be a better way. No doctors could give me any freaking, I swear, Kegels, which now we know are wrong. They're not, we're not even using the correct muscles when we do Kegels. So, but just learning more how to connect yourself with your three center chakras and learning how to actually use those muscles to lift those muscles up. And you can do that a lot with your mind, very small movements, stuff like that. But just really quick, I'm going to kind of show you, hopefully, let me see if I move this down a little bit. So if you, I did this in my bedroom, I thought it would be, appropriate for the workshop. But anyway, let's see, I feel like I got stuff on my hands. So anyway, if you take your thumbs and you put it in your belly button, and so both thumbs are in your belly button, and then you just kind of make like this shape, which actually looks just like your pelvic floor muscles, the triangle of our pelvic floor, which is literally called our second diaphragm. So we have our first diaphragm and then we have our second diaphragm, and both of them are equally important. Well, this one obviously we need. It's our main like life source. If we didn't have a diaphragm up here, we would die. Most people think that we do it with our muscles. I mean, with our lungs, but actually it's our diaphragm that does all that. But anyway, so down here is our second diaphragm. So that shape actually even represents what our pelvic floor muscles, triangles, whatever you want to call it, looks like. But anyway, if you take and you press right there, right above your pubic bone, there should be. I have mine's like rock hard, so I'm always telling people there's a muscle right there, and like so some people you have to really kind of find it because sometimes it's not even a muscle that's actually used a lot if we don't know how to use that muscle. So there's a muscle right there above your pubic bone, and so just kind of lay on your back and just kind of press around right there, and and then try to learn how to squeeze that muscle by yourself. But if you can't feel it, if you lift up and look between your legs, so you're not trying to squeeze anything, you're just lifting up and looking between your legs, that muscle should activate a little bit. And so you should feel that muscle. And when you feel it, now really try to engage it. And so that's kind of the muscle that we're talking about right there. And so if you go down and you put your hands on that muscle and you just lift up and look between your legs. So just try to lift up. You're not trying to squeeze anything at all. Nothing at all. Nothing is being squeezed here. We just have our fingers pressing on that muscle that I was just referring to. And so you're just going to lift up and look between your legs. And so if you feel that muscle separate, that is an indication of a weak pelvic floor. So so we're starting back on our back. You take that shape, you press your thumbs in your belly button, you feel that muscle right above your pubic bone. We're not engaging any muscles here. We're literally just lifting our body up as high as we can and looking between our knees. And that muscle right there should either feel flat or it kind of looks a little bit like this, and it will start to open up. And so depending on how big of an opening it goes, so if you take your finger, some people can fit no fingers in there. Some people can fit like a half of a finger, like it just feels like it's barely going in there. Some people can fit a full finger in there. Some people can fit two. I know that just all sounds inappropriate, but we're doing it into our stomach. So again, so lift up, press, and it takes a minute. You've got to kind of connect and feel that. And so like, that's not good. No, mine has about I can probably put like a little tiny bit of a half of a finger in mine. It used to be really solid, so I need to work on that, obviously. But I've actually had some students where I could put a full finger, two fingers, and three fingers in that opening. So when that opening goes up, if you can, and it's not like you're putting fingers in there, it's just like the tips. So if it opens enough to where you can put a finger or two or three, that means that you have a weak pelvic floor and you really, really need to start working on it. But I could give you all the workouts in the world, but if you don't know how to mentally and physically activate those intrinsic muscles in your body, you can work out your pelvic floor all you want, but it's probably, you could do all the clam workouts and all those things that that you're supposed to do in a pelvic floor exercise, but if you don't know how to mentally connect those intrinsic muscles, then you will never be able to to really activate those. And so that's a lot what the workshop is about. And it's a lot of meditation. It's a lot of, not necessarily meditation, but it's it's meditation, because we're going to lay here and we're going to like mentally try to connect with those muscles down there. So I will explain to you different muscles and different feelings and different breaths. So we're going to do about 5 different breathing techniques in that workshop. So today I'm just kind of telling you guys a little bit about all the stuff that's going to be talked about in the workshop. But I did want you to be able to test that pelvic floor and see if that's something that's an issue for you. If you're having even if you don't pee when you walk or jump or laugh, you might not have as much sensation down there, or your finish line, you know what I mean, is not like all there as much as you'd want it to be. then that's when you really need to start connecting those. But even if you're not having those experiences and you just want to deepen um, your O's. I don't know. I don't know if what I'm supposed to say on this group, so I don't know. I don't want to be super inappropriate. That's why it's a good workshop and not a good like whole group thing. But it'll definitely deepen your orgasm. I've taught students kind of how to even have their own orgasm without even touching themselves. So if you can connect your mind and your body enough, and you can lift all those muscles up all the way to the top of your head. So when we inhale correctly and we use those muscles, our sacrum flexes back and spinal fluid opens up, and then we start to take all that up to our brain, which is literally that's where our orgasms are, whether we think it's there or not. We're having them up here. And so if you can learn how to do that correctly, and then squeeze into it, you can have your own. But you can also enhance your sexual experience while you're doing that, if you know how to use those muscles. And it takes a little bit if you've not really mind body connected a whole lot. Even if you have, you might not understand how many different diaphragms and muscles and all that stuff that we have down there. You might not understand how all of that works and how we need to lift that up um, to the top of our brain. And so of course, I'm a breathing technique person like crazy. So I'm all about the breath. I've taught this to a lot of different students, and it was so great when they had that aha moment. That's why I love teaching so much, because just watching my students' faces and them understanding and connecting, and then I'm like, I see, I'm not just crazy. I mean, I'm crazy, but I'm not like I. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of tell you guys a little bit about what I was going to be talking about in the pelvic floor workshop, and just see if that might be something that everybody's interested in. So I don't know. And I don't see anybody on, so there's not really any questions I can answer or anything like that. So, but as always, you can always comment when this video is over, and you can always comment you can always send me a message privately. I love answering anything. I'm here for you guys, and I appreciate all of you guys like coming to your mat, because I know that's super, super hard. And I love Summer and Lauren so much. They've been a blessing in my life. So I'm so thankful for them. And I hope everybody has a wonderful Saturday. And I hope that made sense. I'm trying to like hold back, but at the same time, kind of get you to understand what I'm trying to do in the workshop. So there's not going to be a ton of yoga or movements in that workshop. It's more about connecting. So when we're practicing yoga, we are flowing with our breath. We're flowing with we're learning how to bring those energy centers up, and we're learning how to breathe correctly. We're learning how to use our bandha locks. We're learning how to use all of that stuff. And so a lot of times people don't even realize in yoga that we are trying to connect internally more than externally. And we're trying to use those intrinsic muscles inside down here, which we call our bandha locks. So we have our Uddiyana bandha and we have our Mulyana bandha. So a lot of people are only familiar with the Uddiyana bandha because that's mostly all that's talked about in a yoga studio, just because it can get a little bit more inappropriate. But if anybody's taken class in my studio, they know that inappropriate is just what I do. So because, we're talking real life people, like we all have the same body. We have the same stuff. I mean, we don't have the same body, but you know what I mean? We have the same organs. We have the same stuff. A lot of us have problems that we think we're the only one that has it. And most of the time it's like, we all kind of are in that same boat, but we just think we're the only one. So I think if we were all more honest and just more open with everything that we have going on, I think that, man, it would just be so much easier for everyone. But anyway, so I love you guys, and I hope you have an amazing Saturday, and I will hope to see you in the workshop very, very soon.